Tip number one, always take pre-workout before your workouts, right? So if you've never taken pre-workout before, go buy some at your supplement store today. Literally just go buy some pre-workout right now, today, right? Because I guarantee if you're not using pre-workout, you're not training to nearly as much as you should be. Like, you're not training as hard as you should be. You're training to about 50% of your capability and just leaving so much like fucking progress on the table. You're just sacrificing like 50% of your gains every single workout just because you're not using pre-workout, right? So if you've not started using pre-workout, go buy some today. Literally after you've watched this video, the one thing you should go do is go to your supplement store, buy some fucking pre-workout. It's not expensive. Go buy some fucking pre-workout, right? And if you're watching this video and you want to give the argument that, you know what, if you take pre-workout, it's not really that big of a difference, you know, it's more of like your mental, and if you think it works, you start training harder, whatever the fuck, right? Like, you're fucking retarded, right? If you're thinking that pre-workout doesn't work and you're thinking that it doesn't make a difference, you're just fucking retarded, right? Because I've been using pre-workout. I'll put up the fucking pictures and you see the fucking progress. I make progress. I get results. I've been using pre-workout. There's a reason why every 3 to 6 months you look basically the same as you've been looking, right? I look like a completely new fucking human being every single 3 to 6 months just because, like, I'm telling you the things that I do and how I get results, right? So go buy some fucking pre-workout. Use that, right? If you're gonna give like a more reasonable argument, right, you might just not be a complete retard, and you give a reasonable argument and say, you know what, I've tried some pre-workout, but when I take pre-workout, I get a little bit too itchy, and also like I don't know, I feel kind of dizzy, drowsy, whatever, right? Then I would be like, okay, you know what? This is like a 20% argument. It's a little bit of a reasonable argument, right? You're not completely fucking retarded. I would also just say, like, stop being a fucking pussy, right? And just, like, take the fucking pre-workout, right? Like, you feel a little bit itchy, so what? Who gives a fuck? But also, that's actually kind of a valid argument, right? So, for guys who've never used pre-workout, and you're going to start using pre-workout, right, you want to look out for a few things on the pre-workout, right? So I think I'll just grab my pre-workouts and I'll show you like the few things you want to look out for when you actually go buy some pre-workout after this video, right? So I have a few pre-workouts, right? So I'll just show you. So let me show you. There's like a few kind of different variations to the pre-workout. There's pre-workouts like this that say on the label fully dosed pre-workouts, right? And they have like usually a large amount of caffeine and like beta alanine in them, right? So caffeine is like, here it's 325, can you see that? 325 milligrams of caffeine, which is quite high for pre-workouts, right? So if you're starting off, you don't want to get this one. You don't get this one. You get like one which is like a number that's like 260, 250 milligrams right here, right? So you get like 250 milligrams. If you can find some with less, there's one which I started off with, which are like 160 milligrams, right? And I'll take like 2 scoops of that, but like, you want to start off with something that's lower than 325, and then obviously when it's like less than 325, usually the beta alanine is lower as well. The beta alanine is basically like the chemical that makes you like get a little bit itchy when you take the pre-workout. So like in most cases, the ones which are not as strong, the ones that are not fully dosed, those are the ones which you probably want to start off with if you're taking for the first time, right? And as your body adjusts, you probably move on to like some like this one, right? So this is like 300 milligrams. So you can see this one is 300 milligrams. It's 25 milligrams less than the one that I've just shown you, right? The previous one that I've just shown you. And you move up and up and up. So you could start off with one which is like 160 milligrams. You take that until it finishes. The next time you go buy, you don't buy that exact one. You buy one which is like what? 300 milligrams. I don't know, and then you move up until you get to like the ones which are like fully dosed, right? So that's how you'd want to progress with like the pre-workout, in case like you're worried about some side effects like getting a little bit dizzy, even though that never happens, but like just for the sake of the argument, right? If that's the argument you're going to give, this is the solution. That basically never happens, but in case that you want to give that argument, right? So you start off with lower dosed pre-workouts and then you just progress up and up and up and up, right? That's how you do it with pre-workout, right? So that's the first big point on pre-workout. The second big point that I want to give you, the second advanced gym tip, is that never break your creatine streak, right? Never break your creatine streak. You want to take creatine 7 days a week, every single day, and you never want to miss days of creatine. Never miss days of creatine. Always have creatine. Take it every single day, right? Because the big point with this is that like creatine works like a game. Like, you know, if you play like Call of Duty, right? When you have like a kill streak, the higher the kill streak, like the more people you kill in a row before you die, right? The more like upgrades the game gives you, right? So for example, let's say like if you've played Call of Duty, you know this. If you kill like 3 people in a row without dying, they'll give you like this device that shows you the people, your enemies on your map, and then now you can see where the other guys are whilst they can't see where you are. So now you have an advantage because you can just like sneak up on them and find them. You kill a couple more guys, you get to like 7 kills or some shit. They'll give you like, I don't know, like a new gun, like a gun that kills people more efficiently, right? And now like you can kill more people like more efficiently just because you have a new gun, and then you move up and you probably get like a new armor or some shit, right? That's how creatine works. The more you take it without breaking the streak, the better you see the advantages in the results, the better your recovery, the more your strength, like the more water you're going to hold in your muscles, the more you're going to be able to lift, and all these good things that creatine gives you, right? But the more important thing is that you don't break the streak, you just take it continuously, right? And also, second bonus tip on creatine, you want to take, actually, before I give you the second bonus tip, for you not to break the streak, right, here's a really good like piece of advice that I'm actually going to give you, right? So you see, I have my creatine, right? That's like this white container of supplements. These are like my creatines, right? My containers of creatine, right? What you want to have is that if you have creatine right now and it's stored like in your cupboard somewhere, right? You want to go take out that creatine and you want to put it somewhere where you can see it 24/7, right? It has to be in your line of vision all day. Like if you keep yours in your cupboard closed up, go take it out, put it on like your work desk, right? Where you're always like there, like where you study, where you work, put it on your work desk, right? That way it's in your line of vision 24/7 and you basically never forget to take it, right? Because if you can see it all the time, you just remember, oh, I haven't taken creatine, right? So this is the way that you don't forget to take creatine, and that way you always just have it, right? So you see, my creatine is literally right there. Like anytime I'm in my room, I can just see that, oh, okay, my creatine's right there. I haven't taken it. And also, another extra thing for you not to forget to take creatine, add it to your routine. So I have a routine, right? Like I take my creatine around the time where I eat, like after I eat my pre-gym meal, right? So after I've eaten my meal to go to the gym, I'll then take creatine, and then I also put in my pre-workout and whatever. So it's like a routine that I have, right? Consistently, right? So I just know that by the time I'm finished, before I go to the gym, I always take my creatine, right? So just make sure you add it into your routine, or you put the creatine somewhere where you can see it all the time, just 24/7, right? If it's in your cupboard, pause the video, go take it out, put it on your work desk somewhere where you can see it every single moment of your day, right? That way you don't forget. And another extra tip about creatine, right? You want to take more like 8 grams to like 10 grams of creatine, just depending on like your body weight and stuff. So the recommended amount that's written on the fucking container is that you take 5 grams of creatine, right? That's like 1 flattened scoop of creatine. You take 5 grams of creatine. That's how much you're supposed to take. But this doesn't take in account your weight, your height, your whatever. It's just like a recommended dose just for everyone. Like if you're a 50 kg female or if you're like a 90 kg male, it doesn't take into account. It doesn't give a fuck like who you are. It's just written that you take 5 grams of creatine, right? So I'm telling you, you need to take more like 8 grams, right? So I'll give you, for instance, for you to really understand this, I'm like 80 something kgs, right? I take more like 8 grams of creatine, right? I don't specifically go and put it on a fucking foot scale and say, oh, okay, 8 grams. No, I know how much 8 grams is good. Like 2 flattened scoops is 10 grams. So like 1.5 scoops would be like about 8 grams, or like 1 hipped scoop would be like 8 grams, give or take, right? That's like what 8 grams of creatine is, and that's how much I take for myself. And I'm like 80 something kgs, right? If you're 90 something, you want to take more like 9 grams. If you're 100 kgs, you want to take like 10 grams. If you're like 70 kgs, you want to take more like 7 grams, right? Just about like that range. But you want to take a little bit more than the recommended amount, right? So that's the other tip that I had for you in terms of creatine, right? The third tip that I have for you is that use the 80-20 rule for maximizing your physique, right? So what's the 80-20 rule? Basically, if you go into the mirror and you look at like your physique, there's muscle groups that are always lacking. And if you improve those muscle groups, you focus and prioritize those muscle groups, right? And you improve them in a month or two, right? Your physique, it's going to look like it's just upgraded a couple of steps. Just because that muscle group that I was lacking was basically holding your physique back, and when you improve it and it's caught up to all the other muscles, it's basically just going to boost your physique so much faster than you just continuing to work on the other muscles that are already kind of developing and neglecting like the muscle that's lacking. You're gonna take like eight months or like 10 months for you to really see the same difference, right? So what does this look like? Let's say like for example, your neck is kind of small. So this is the case for most people, right? They have like a skinny neck, right? Your neck is kind of skinny. What you want to do is like my physique, look, this is my neck. You can tell my neck is like it's thick, it's developed, right? So my neck is not specifically lacking, right? Because I train my neck. But if your neck was lacking compared to like your physique, right? Like let's say you put on a hoodie and people can't even tell that you train. The biggest thing that you can do is really just train your neck and then improve it. That way, when it's caught up to the rest of your muscles, you just look like your physique has gone up a whole new level, right? This is like a big tip, and it's like you're not probably going to really understand what I'm saying because you probably just want to keep training chest and training biceps. But for you to see the biggest difference in your physique, you just want to train the muscles that are lacking and prioritize those muscles, especially like at the beginning of your workouts or whatever. Just prioritize those muscles, train those muscles the hardest, and push those muscles to failure, right? So like for most people, I'll take an assumption and try and think what that would be for you, right? If you've been if you've been training for aesthetics, right? For most people it's like neck, right? So again, your neck is probably not as thick as it should be, and you probably want to go and train that. For like another large amount of people, it's like your traps, right? So your traps are probably not nearly as developed as they should be, right? So this is like your trap. You want to go train your traps and make them catch up to like your whole physique, right? Those are usually like the lacking muscles for most people. Some people it's like delts, but like for the majority of people, it's like for like 99% of people, like basically it's usually your neck, your traps that are not caught up, right? The other muscles, you could make progress, but it won't make the biggest difference, right? And then the last piece of advice that I have for you in this video is just that go train your 7 aesthetic muscles, get bigger, build up muscle mass, but focus 95% of your energy on just being as lean as you can, because the leaner you get, just the more aesthetic you look. And I'm not just going to say lean as a broad term, right? Get to like 11% body fat, right? 11% body fat and below, where you've got like clearly visible chiseled abs, right? Get below that, right? I'll put up some pictures of mine, like when I was like 9% body fat. You can see what that looks like when you're like sub 10% body fat. I'll put up some pictures of more of my recent like body fat, or just my recent physique, where you can see my body fat, where I'm more like 11% body fat, right? And just go focus 95% of your energy on being lean, just because being lean is like basically the whole game when it comes to having an aesthetic physique, right? So you just want to focus mostly on being lean, not mostly on just building the muscle mass, because muscle mass takes time. Being lean takes a few months. If you focus on being lean, you'll be able to really just make the most amount of progress and see the biggest changes in your physique in a short amount of time. These are like the tips that I had for you. This is the video for today. This is the advice that I had for you. Like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel.